Hi and happy Thanksgiving. I am sitting in the car right now. We've been traveling for Thanksgiving, but the lesson that I did to build reading comprehension and vocab, I did with my fourth graders, but it was actually just one fourth grader. The other two were out of school for the week. We only had school on Monday and Tuesday. So what I did to build reading comprehension and vocab skills was I got off of Teacher Paid Teacher a short passage. I printed a bunch of short passages, and this one was called The Thankful Turkey, and that was the one that I decided to focus on. So I told him that we would be reading this passage called The Thankful Turkey, but before I wanted him and I to have a conversation about things that we're thankful for. So I told him things that I was thankful for, and then I asked him what he was thankful for, and he said video games, he said water parks, and he said, I think hot Cheetos probably. And then I kind of prompted him to say, family and mom and dad, brother, sister, friends, grandma, papa, those kinds of things. And as he was telling me this, I wrote on sticky notes what he was thankful for, and I just put them around the table. And then afterwards, I had him touch each sticky note and say the words that we had written down. So water park, grandma, papa, mom, dad, family, friends, school, that kind of thing. And then I read the passage to him first, and then I had him read the passage to me. He did have a hard time with it, and he did have to sound out a lot more words than what I was expecting him to have to do. And a lot of times, instead of him trying to sound out a word too, he would kind of just see that the first letter, say for example, was B, and he just knew ball was B, and he would just then, say a word that he was familiar with. So we read that. I read it to him, he read it to me, and then I read it to him one more time. And there were 4 reading comprehension questions at the end of it, and we answered that. But then at the end of the lesson, what I had him do was, on a piece of paper, I wanted him to write what he was thankful for in a complete sentence. And I reminded him to use the sticky notes that were all around and to start it with, I am thankful for. And I said, I want you to list at least 3 things, use capital letters, make a full sentence with proper punctuation and spelling the words correctly. And then afterwards, we just went over again the passage briefly and some words in it, and I would just touch the words as I said them. And that was that's the lesson that we did, and I thought it was a good change from playing the flashcard games that we did. So also it was honestly pretty nice to just be one-on-one. So that was my lesson for this week. Thanks.